How many people here know who invented the cotton gin? Just yell it out. Eli Whitney, that is correct. Now here's the follow-up question, a little harder. How many people have ever sat in a boring history class early in the morning and fantasized about who in the room they would have sex with? If a guy with a gun burst into the room and forced them to have sex with somebody in that room at that moment. Okay, you know who you are. This is for you. This is called Defending American Interests, 1850 to 1950. And this next poem, you've just chosen a great time to walk in. I'm going to read one of my dirtiest poems. Is that okay? Okay. All right. Adults sometimes speak like this, but it doesn't mean it's right. Defending American Interests, 1850 to 1950. Don't know much about history. In fact, it's a subject I hate, but I took this history class sophomore year for one reason. Susie Tate. Susie Tate, Episcopalian princess, was a clog-wearing field hockey queen, Ray-Bans and Oxford cloth button-down shirts, the wasp goddess of L.L. Bean. When she was in my eyes, I fantasized and everything else became a blur. I wanted to abandon my bachelor's in English for a master's degree in her. So there we were in history class, and she smelled great, which made it even harder not to imagine I was a kamikaze pilot bombing her precious Pearl Harbor. Then boom, the door was kicked in by a massive guy with a perfect tan. Oh no, hide your libido. He was wearing a Speedo. It was Fantasy Enforcement Man. A scary-looking motherfucker he was. In his hand, he held an Uzi. "You are all going to die," he said, "unless Taylor has sex with Susie." There were screams. There were screams. He fired a shot in the air. And then he narrowed his eyes. "Either Taylor and Susie do it right here and now, or else everyone in history dies." I looked at Susie, she looked at me, and my heart began to beat faster. Then I looked at the guy, and in my most hateful voice, I managed to snarl, "You bastard. You can't force us to have sex." But he said, "That's not the way I see it. But if you want everyone here to die, it's your choice. So be it." He aimed his gun, but I did not flinch. Between a rock and a hard-on, wait a minute, sorry. He aimed his gun, but I did not flinch. Between a rock and a hard place, I was stuck. Before he fired, Susie ran to me and pleaded, "For the love of God, Taylor, let's..." She closed her eyes, licked her lips, and then, right there in my lap, off came her J. Crew, revealing her Land's End, her Victoria's Secret, her Gap. Our eyes locked together, and as she reached down and unbuttoned my 501 blues, I said, "This is really hard for me." She said, "I know, but so are you." And then, although exactly how she did it will forever remain a mystery, she took me as if she were every single girl in all of American history. Then suddenly she pulled the belt from my pants and made as if to whip me. "You're a naughty boy and you must be punished. So tell me, who was Eli Whitney?" Who was, what? The teacher was asking. "Mr. Molly, daydreaming again?" "Miss Tate, perhaps you would be so kind as to enlighten our unprepared friend." Susie smiled and the whole class laughed at me. But when she spoke, I heard a new sound. Not the song of an angel, but the words of a woman on a pedestal coming down. So now, when the topic is history, I close my eyes and I can't help but grin and remember that class and being drunk off my ass on Susie Tate and cotton gin. Thank you.